He beat 15 other fighters on national TV, won a six-figure UFC contract, walked into MMA's biggest spotlight. Then he disappeared. Amir Sadollah didn't just win the Ultimate Fighter, he dominated it. Dana White called him a natural-born killer. Fans were convinced they had seen the next UFC star. But just one UFC fight later, it all came crashing down. This wasn't just a tough loss, this was a complete disappearance. No press tour, no comeback, no social media. It was like he never existed. Today we're digging into the strangest case in tough history. This is the mystery of Amir Sadollah, the man who won it all and then vanished forever.
My name is Amir Sadollah. I'm a 185-pound fighter fighting out of Richmond, Virginia from Combat Sports Center. And this is my fight reel.
Amir Ali Sadollah was born in Brooklyn, New York and raised in Richmond, Virginia, the son of an Iranian father and an Irish-American mother. Not your typical MMA origin story. He didn't grow up in a wrestling room, no golden gloves, no judo dojo. Amir went to community college, he got a regular job, and worked as a surgical technologist at VCU Health. Ironically, that is where the fight bug started. Watching surgeons work under pressure, calm, calculated, decisive, it reminded him of fighters. He saw something familiar in both worlds: precision, nerves of steel. So he walked into a small local gym, Combat Sports Center, and started training. No pro dreams yet, just a hobby to stay in shape. But here's the part that no one talks about. Amir never fought professionally before TUF, not even once.
At this moment of like, oh shit, he punches people in the face for a living.
You wouldn't know it.
You wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
You're just a normal guy, but there's got to be. I'm curious as to what the process is to convert from
normal
you guy to when you walk into that ring and knowing that you need to go someplace. Yeah.
His entire fight resume going into the Ultimate Fighter was 4 amateur MMA bouts and a few Muay Thai fights. That is it. But he was undefeated, 4-0 MMA, 3-0 Muay Thai. His training partners were guys like Dwayne Diesel Shelton and Francois Ambang. Not household names, but killers in their own right. Amir didn't come from a big camp. No UFC hype, just raw skills and a cool head. And that was enough. In October of 2007, he showed up at the TUF 7 tryouts in Chicago, one of 250 hopefuls. He had no manager, no pro record, but he had heart. He impressed Dana White and the casting team immediately. He spoke 3 languages, but his fluency in violence, well, that's what got him a plane ticket to Las Vegas. Season 7 was different. 32 fighters had to fight their way into the house, no automatic picks. Amir's first opponent was Steve Burns, a strong, scrappy brawler. Amir didn't flinch. He submitted Burns with a textbook armbar in round 2. Smooth, clinical, unshaken. He was in. Team Rampage versus Team Forrest. Amir was Forrest Griffin's second pick, 4th overall. Quiet, calm, and polite, but that was just the surface. Forrest saw the potential instantly. This guy, Forrest said, doesn't waste movement, doesn't panic, just flows. Amir had no nickname, no tattoos, no trash talk, just a surgical tech turned fighter who looked weirdly composed. Inside the house, he stayed away from the drama, focused, friendly, the opposite of the usual tough wild card. No one saw him as a threat. Not yet. On screen, Amir played the background. No outbursts, no late-night chaos. He trained, studied tape, listened to coaches, and slowly the others started noticing, even his teammates. Matt Brown. Yes, that Matt Brown called him sneaky good. Gerald Harris, a powerhouse wrestler, didn't take him seriously until he ended up on his back. And when fight time came, Amir flipped the switch. His next bout against Gerald Harris, Team Rampage's monster, Amir chopped him down with knees and elbows, TKO in round 2. Then came Matt Brown, his teammate, his friend. That was personal, a close fight, lots of scrambles, but Amir pulled off a triangle choke late in round 2, submission win, 2-0. Now it was CB Dollaway, Team Rampage's number 1 pick, NCAA wrestler, big favorite. CB controlled most of the fight until the final minute. Amir, calm as ever, locked in another armbar. Just like that, another win straight to the finale. And that is where the twist came. Amir was set to fight Jesse Taylor in the final, but Jesse got himself kicked out of the UFC for trashing a limo and acting out after the show. So CB Dollaway got a second shot. This time, it wasn't even close. June 21st, 2008, Tough 7 finale, Las Vegas. Amir walked into the octagon with zero pro experience and walked out a UFC fighter. CB Dollaway shot for a takedown. Amir sprawled, took his back, transitioned beautifully, and once again slapped on an armbar. Tap, first round submission. The crowd went nuts. Dana White raised his arm. Joe Rogan handed him the mic. Amir smiled, humble, quiet. He thanked his coaches, his teammates, his parents. He wasn't putting on a show. This was just a regular guy living the craziest night of his life. He had just won a six-figure UFC contract on national television. No pro fights before Tough, 4 exhibition wins, and a highlight finish in the finale. He made MMA history. Overnight, Amir became a star. UFC media pushed him hard. Interviews, press runs, appearances, ESPN, SureDog, UFC.com. They all named him the number 3 newcomer of the year. The hype was real. Fans loved the story. A surgical tech turns fighter beats everyone with all class and skill. Dana White was all in, called him a future top 10 guy. The UFC signed him to a 3-fight deal immediately with more to come, and they weren't going to waste time. First up, UFC 91, November 2008. Opponent, Nick Catone. But then, infection. Amir had to pull out. A leg issue. Not serious, but serious enough. Fight rescheduled for UFC Fight Night 17 in February 2009. Then, a broken clavicle. Another withdrawal. Fans waited. Months passed. No fights. Finally, the UFC found a new opponent. August 8th, 2009, UFC 101, Philadelphia. Big card. Co-main event, Anderson Silva. Main event, BJ Penn. Huge audience. Amir's opponent was Johnny Hendricks. Undefeated, explosive wrestler, not a layup. But Amir had hype, skill, and momentum. The betting odds were close. This was the time that Hendricks was a relative unknown. This was before the era where Hendricks almost beat GSP. It was his big debut, the full UFC machine behind him. And it took less than 30 seconds to fall apart. Amir stepped into the cage at UFC 101 with the full weight of hype on his shoulders. New fans thought he was the next Forrest Griffin. The UFC needed a star. But Johnny Hendricks didn't care about the storyline. He just came to fight. And fight he did. Seconds into the first round, Amir threw a head kick. Hendricks blocked it, stepped in, and cracked him with an uppercut. Amir dropped to his knees. Hendricks swarmed. Hammer fist rained down. Dan Miragliotta stepped in just 29 seconds after the fight began. It was over. Some fans called it an early stoppage. Amir had been getting up. He didn't look unconscious, but Miragliotta defended the call, said Amir was glassy-eyed, said he asked what happened when the fight ended. Now, regardless of who was right, the debut was a train wreck. Amir's perfect record was gone. The undefeated aura had shattered. All that momentum from Tough instantly erased. He looked stunned, not just from the punch, but from the moment. And the silence that followed said everything. No angry outburst, no excuses, just quiet shock. The UFC's golden boy had just been baptized in the worst possible way. That loss to Johnny Hendricks wasn't the end of Amir's career, but it was the beginning of the end. He rebounded with a solid win over Phil Baroni at UFC 106. Amir picked him apart with Muay Thai. Clean strikes, smart clinch work, total control. It was the version of Amir that fans had expected. Then came Brad Blackburn. Same result, unanimous decision. Amir looked sharp again. Patient, confident, kicks and knees in the clinch, just like old times. But consistency? That never followed. Next fight, Dong Young Kim. A nightmare matchup. Kim wrestled him into the canvas for 3 straight rounds. Another loss. Amir bounced back again, this time beating Peter Sabata in Germany. Classic decision win, measured striking, nothing flashy, just workmanlike.
He's a tough fighter. How did you train for him specifically coming into this fight?
Well, I kind of knew to expect that. He's a tough guy, and he likes to move back a lot. So you got to put pressure on him, but not get overextended and leave your hands down, because he'll definitely throw hard when he sees an opening. So we just kind of worked on putting pressure on and just staying tight and keeping it a good range, and so it worked out.
And that's exactly it. Do you ever feel as if though it was your ability to keep the distance and just hit him with those high kicks whenever you?
Then came DeMarcus Johnson. That was vintage Amir. He dragged Johnson into deep water, locked him down, and pounded him until the ref had to wave it off. TKO by elbows, and that was his best UFC win. But it didn't last. He dropped a close fight to Duane Ludwig, then eked out a split decision over Jorge Lopez.
The fight with Jorge Lopez was a really tough fight. There's lots of things I was happy with, and there were things that I saw I wanted to improve. Overall, I was happy with myself in the fight. There were some things I changed and things I was working on in camp that I did during the fight, and I was happy with some steps I made forward. But again, like I said, it also opened up some things I want to work on. So I'm overall happy with the fight, but as always, you can always get better. And I just want to use that to do that.
Did you make it out healthy?
Then lost cleanly to Dan Hardy in Nottingham.
I had this moment of like, oh shit, he punches people in the face for a living.
You wouldn't know it.
You wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
You're just a normal guy, but there's got to be. I'm curious as to what the process is to convert from
Normal
guy to when you walk into that ring and knowing that you need to go someplace. Yeah.
By 2013, the pattern was clear. Win one, lose one, get injured, repeat. His body started breaking down, pulled out of fights, training became scattered. Between 2012 and 2014, he fought just once. Then came Yoshihiro Akiyama in Japan, September 2014. Amir fought hard but looked like a man who hadn't been in the cage for years. 3 rounds, no answers, another decision loss. And that was it. That was the last time we'd see Amir. But the career of Amir started dwindling after the Hendricks fight. His training camp at Combat Sports Center started falling apart. He left the gym. Rumors swirled. Burnout, injuries, mental health struggles. No official explanation. Some say that he tried training at Extreme Couture. Others say that he ghosted teammates. Even coaches weren't sure where he was at. Family issues? Maybe. Financial pressure? Probably. But no one could say for certain. Amir kept everything private. But when your support system cracks, everything else does too. He wasn't training consistently, wasn't taking fights. The UFC started getting frustrated. For a brief moment, it looked like he might pivot. After TUF, Amir did some TV hosting work for Spike. He appeared on fight recaps and did commentary segments. It wasn't flashy, but it still kept him visible. But again, it didn't last.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready. Like you said, it's been a long, tough road, and definitely obstacles on the way. But hopefully, I'm learning as I go and fixing what I can and pouting about things that I can't fix. So that's my goal.
And then you got a side gig here. You seem to do it pretty naturally. You like this kind of stuff too?
Yeah, no, I actually like it. It's a good break from the normal grind. I get to come out here and run my mouth on camera and feel like a rock star for a day, and it's back to getting punched in the face. So I like it.
So it's a good mix, running your mouth and getting punched in the face.
Exactly.
All right, Amir, thanks a lot, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
He stopped showing up to events, stopped responding to emails. His social media went dark. No interviews, no UFC promos. Sponsors quietly ended deals. The UFC quit booking him. Eventually, the contract was voided. Just like that. The organization moved on. And Amir, he vanished. No retirement post, no farewell tour, no dramatic exit, just a slow fade into silence. Years passed. MMA journalists tried reaching out, no luck. Former teammates made calls, nothing. A few fans thought they saw him at events, but there was no proof. His Wikipedia is mostly blank. His Instagram is deleted. No LinkedIn, no Twitter, no interviews. Amir Sadollah didn't just retire, he erased himself from the sport entirely. But then came the weirdest part. Every now and then, someone would spot him. Over the years, rumors popped up like smoke signals. I saw Amir at a Whole Foods in Vegas. He was coaching a Muay Thai class in Oregon. He's working at a hospital in Virginia. All unconfirmed. Now, every once in a while, an old teammate would get a text, nothing dramatic, just a hope you're doing well, then radio silence again. Once, a reporter claimed that Amir responded to an Instagram DM, but when pressed, the message disappeared. It was like he wanted to be found, but not really. Just enough to stay human, but never enough to return. Fans started coming up with their own explanations and conspiracy theories. One, he had a full-blown mental health crisis. The fame hit too fast. The loss shook him too hard. He just checked out. 2, financial ruin. He wasn't making Conor money. UFC fighters don't get retirement packages. Maybe it got too real. 3, legal trouble. Old debts. Maybe lawsuits. That one never had proof, but it stuck. 4, witness protection. Total fantasy, but you know how the internet works. Some say that he's in Iran. Others say that he's working in healthcare again. But the truth is, no one knows, and the silence only makes the story stranger. Even Dana White stopped mentioning him. Even the UFC, who loves nostalgia, leaves him out of the tough highlight reels. Now that is unheard of for a winner. As of 2025, Amir Sadollah is 44 years old. No fights since 2014, no public appearances, no interviews in over a decade. His last official UFC fight was a unanimous decision loss to Yoshihiro Akiyama in Saitama, Japan, September 20th, 2014. Since then, nothing. No gym affiliations, no coaching stints, no podcast drops. The UFC never officially retired him, but the fans already have. He's the only tough winner who just simply vanished. But the real mystery isn't where he is, it's why he left in the first place. Now let's stop pretending that being a tough winner is all sunshine and walkouts, because it's not even close. You go from completely anonymous to national TV overnight, from working a day job to being seen as the next big thing in one of the most brutal sports on earth. And Amir didn't come in with a 10-1 record and a history of grinding it out. He didn't have time to develop slowly, away from the spotlight. He was learning to fight while being broadcast to millions. Everyone expected him to be the next Forrest Griffin, but he wasn't Forrest. He was a 28-year-old surgical tech who liked training and got thrown into the deep end. The fans wanted chaos. The UFC wanted a killer. Amir just wanted to fight. Now think about that. And then add on the immigrant pressure, the American dream tag, the constant interviews, the promotions, the expectations. And when he finally lost, everyone flipped. What if that pressure crushed him? The UFC never made a documentary on Amir. No Where Are They Now, no tough reunion interviews, not even a social media post. And for a company that loves celebrating its old war horses, that is odd. It's like Amir was quietly removed from the UFC's collective memory. Dana White did speak once. He said, "Amir had one of the best runs in the history of The Ultimate Fighter, but I don't think he wanted to be a fighter. You can't stay on the roster by fighting once every 2 years. At this point, he was just taking up a roster spot. We wish Amir the best of luck." Which sounds cold, but maybe that was the truth. Amir didn't want to be a celebrity. He didn't want to ride the fame. He just wanted to compete, and when that joy disappeared, maybe he did too. Amir's story messed with the myth of The Ultimate Fighter. The show was supposed to launch careers, to prove that anyone with enough grit could become a UFC star. But Amir flipped that. He showed that the fast track could break you, that talent wasn't always enough, that maybe the spotlight burned some people instead of elevating them. The UFC made adjustments after that. They added more post-tough support. They changed how contracts were structured, started pacing their prospects better. In a way, Amir's disappearance changed how the UFC treats its own reality show winners. Not publicly, but quietly. What really happened after the Hendricks fight? Was it mental burnout? Was he disillusioned with the UFC system? Did something personal push him away? Does he regret winning tough? Where is he now? Coaching, teaching, healing, watching fights from the shadows? Does he miss it? Would he ever talk about it? Or maybe this might be the scariest answer. Did the guy who won the Ultimate Fighter just decide that fighting wasn't for him? And if that's true, then maybe Amir didn't vanish. Maybe he escaped. Amir Sadollah won the Ultimate Fighter, fought in the UFC 11 times, beat CB Dollaway, stood in the same cage as Dan Hardy and Akiyama, living the dream. Then he chose something else. No drama, no explanation, just silence. In a sport that worships violence and chaos, maybe the boldest move is walking away completely. No press release, no retirement tour, just gone. His Wikipedia page is nearly empty, his Instagram deleted, he skipped every tough reunion, no one talks about him, it's like he never existed. But he did, and for a short time, he was everything the sport loves. Maybe the real question isn't what happened to Amir Sadollah. Maybe the question is, what would you do if the dream came true and it wasn't what you wanted? In a world obsessed with being seen, maybe the bravest thing you can do is disappear.